Mordred is so adorable. That final moment of Mordred just made me say, oh my god, I love her character. I really, really love her character. When she's sitting there talking with her master, and she's like, I don't want to be down here and all that. This is like a horrible place. Keeping me cooped up in this like ugly crypt and all that. And then her master explains why he's doing it, gives good details, and eventually she's like, oh yeah, I guess I can't use my main, ability, my noble phantasm, because, I would hurt my subjects. And then he's like, since you said subjects, I guess, you're my king and all that. And then the exchange was so adorable of how Mordred reacted. You just see the blush and all that. But then when, they found out Berserker was going crazy, Spartacus, and then she just, gets over at him, just, leaning in on him and talking and all that. And she just starts rolling on the ground. Just like, oh my god, her character, I love her. I fucking love Mordred. I really like her character. Now I see why she is so well known, why so many love her. Now I understand. I mean, like I've said, I've seen fan art of her for so many years now. I just didn't know a lot about her character. I just knew that it wasn't, the same Saber that I know from Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, and I knew she was a tomboyish character. And now seeing her and seeing her personality to what she stands for and all of that, I love her. She's such a good character. She really is making me appreciate this new Fate series, because she's such a different Saber compared to what we have seen from the other Fate series that have come out. Because normally, like I've said, we're used to, our main Saber being very serious, acting like a knight, being honorable. But then you see this Saber, and you're like, oh my god, like, she's just so different, the way she acts, the way she communicates with her master. It really puts a smile on my face. So, when it comes to Mordred as a character, I'm really enjoying her, and honestly, she's making up for the lack of the original Saber from Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. Now, with that being said, though, let's talk about Astafol, or whatever, how you say the dude's name. Yes, I found out. Oh my god. So that pink-haired rider that I thought was having a Yuri scene is a dude. What the fuck? What? Look. Japan. Why must you always have traps like that? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, yo, I'm sitting here seeing these scenes, I'm like, wow, it's Yuri scenes. It's fucking Yuri. And then I find out that this dude that looks like a girl is actually a dude, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Oh, why do you do this? Like, why do you do this, Japan? Why do you do this? Like, why do you... It's cruel. It's real fucking cruel. It's really, really fucking cruel. But regardless, though, I love the character. I love the writer on that side. Astafol, or however you pronounce the name. I love the character. Regardless of being a trap, I love the character. I love writers usually in general when it comes to Fate series, because writers usually get very close to their masters. And that's something I've always enjoyed about, writers. They have a lot of charisma. They definitely have a lot of charisma, and they definitely can carry the series and just showcase that not all heroes are always serious. They can joke about and teach their, masters lessons and stuff. And this has been a reoccurring theme from what I have seen from Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. And seeing, how this new writer is acting and all that, it reminds me of the other writers, like in similarities of just being very nice, and then also not caring about the normal rules of the Holy Grail and all that. She'll do whatever the fuck she wants, or he. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I cannot believe I just said she. Say, Japan, what the fuck is with these traps? Like, why do you do that? But he, just the love he shows, and also how he cares about others and all that, like he doesn't want anyone to die in front of him, that makes me happy. I love that type of character. And so, there is an artificial human that is in this episode, and this human is actually saved thanks to Ryder. And that entire plot point, honestly, is reminding me a lot of some of the elements from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. There is some similarities there, but I don't want to dive too deep into that for spoiler reasons, but there is some similarities going on there, and I'm very curious if that's kind of one of the big themes of Fate. As we know, Nasuverse, there is some things that are very similar, like, how archers, they love to betray people, how fucking, sabers, how they act, and then you have, fucking assassins, usually they die first, or you have it to where riders get closer to their masters. I mean, that's usually like the theme of the series. And I guess in this case, the rider is very close to his master because, I mean, look what, happened at the beginning of this episode. Look at how it opened up. So, yeah, there's definitely a bond there between, master and servant. But, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the actual standard stuff, like, being Lancer is suffering and stuff like that. I'm expecting something really bad to happen to Karna, because from what you can see for Karna, this man's very powerful. And in all honesty, looking at his character, from the way he was described in this episode, he was the son of the sun god, and just his design and everything, the character reminded me a lot of Gilgamesh. And like I said, if you've seen Fate, you'll know who Gilgamesh is. He's a very iconic character. But the way the character's design was, in terms of just looking like a powerhouse, the way he seems like he's invincible and all that, the man reminded me a lot of Gilgamesh. Maybe not personality, but just in terms of design and all that, he reminded me of Gilgamesh. And so, the character is definitely someone that you don't want to fuck with. But since the character is Lancer, I don't expect him to really stick around long. I mean, because like I said, being Lancer is suffering. I mean, they're like one of the most unlucky classes in the entire series, so I mean, I could definitely see the man probably killing over first, which would suck, because it seems like he's a really cool character. Now, anyways, I, looked a little bit into Siegfried and all that, and so, basically, the man, he's immortal. Like, from what I know from his legend, he's immortal, and he only has one weakness, like Achilles. You know, Achilles' heel, that's like his one, weakness. It seems like Siegfried has a weakness as well, like, he has that type of thing when it comes to his lore, like his myth. And so that's really interesting how the man is basically invincible and there's like only one spot on his body that is weak. Very interesting character, and I wonder how that's going to play into the upcoming battles of this series, because if the man is straight up like immortal and you can only kill him a certain way, that's going to be very hard, because I mean that means the man can tank so many blows and you can't even hurt this man. So he's basically like Berserker from Fate Stay Night when you think about it. And that's kind of scary. That's really, really scary. But in this case, though, Saber on, the other side, Siegfried, he has a consciousness. Like, he's able to think and he's not, just rage-induced and all that. So, yeah, I do like some of the things I'm seeing with these characters. Like I said, Karna as well, he's very interesting. The son of the sun god. Siegfried, I like his legend. Also, Karna is apparently, like, immortal, too, from what I can understand from his legend. So, it's interesting how OP some of the servants are in, this new Fate series. I'm kind of curious to see who's going to come out on top and which legends will top each other. Since I haven't necessarily, I think this is based off of a game. Usually Fates are based off of a game. I don't know if it's based off a light novel or a game, but usually in Fate there's like stats and stuff and all that. I wonder what the stats are of these servants. Like, I mean, what ranking are their luck stats, strength stats, stuff like that, to determine like which one is on top. I really need to look into that, because I'm kind of curious who would come out on top, Karna or Siegfried, since they're both technically basically invincible if they were to fight, and it could go on for a while. And this episode emphasized that if they were to fight, it would be a very long drawn out battle, because they fought through the entirety of the night until morning, and they didn't even seem like they were slowing down, like they were exhausted at all. But the only thing they had to worry about was their masters running out of mana. For instance, they didn't have any mana to support the servants, and so basically, the servants couldn't keep fighting. But if they weren't attached to masters that had a limited supply, they would be able to go ham, go crazy for a very long time, according to my understanding from this episode. So, really cool stuff with the servants. And like I said, some very OP servants from what I can see thus far. Like I said, I need to really find the stats of these characters, because usually they're stats. I need to find the stats of these characters to see exactly how OP they are when they stack up against each other. Anyways, though, let's talk about Frankenstein, or Berserker, because technically she doesn't want to be called Frankenstein. But, Berserker, she's so cute. Oh my god, she is cute as well. Like, she's straight adorable. She is adorable. I love her design, and such a different breath of fresh air when it comes to a Berserker class servant, because from what I've seen from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night, usually, like I've said, Berserkers, they're like a Berserker. They go fucking crazy and they start bashing your shit in. They're not really much for communicating and all that. I mean, I guess if you think about Fate Stay Night, but like I said, I'm not getting into spoilers. But I mean, point is that just seeing this type of relationship with Berserker and her master, it's very sweet. I like that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how powerful she is, because berserkers in general usually are very insanely powerful. Like, they can go ham and start destroying shit. I mean, look what Spartacus is doing in this episode. Oh yeah, FYI, I made a mistake last week. I want to acknowledge that, because I don't want to just brush on the rug and act like it didn't happen. I made a mistake last week. I accidentally said, you know, Spartacus was a Spartan and all that, but actually it was Leonidas. I'm very sorry. I went fucking brain dead. I'm sorry. I want to admit that I'm wrong on that part. I was very sorry for that mistake, and I'm willing to admit mistakes when I make them. So I just wanted to do a quick FYI there. So anyways, Spartacus, you can clearly see as a berserker servant, he's very powerful. I mean, look what he's doing. He's just going fucking crazy, just rampaging through the fucking forest, blowing shit up or fighting shit. Like, he's like a typical berserker. Like, his personality, the way he's acting, is like a typical berserker. But then you look at Frankenstein and you're like, she's very different. Like, she's very different. So, I believe what's probably gonna happen, since Spartacus is rushing in, most likely Frankenstein is gonna fight Spartacus. Because Berserker versus Berserker, that seems like that makes sense. And that seems very interesting. Holy shit. Like, I never would have thought I would have seen a Berserker versus a Berserker class servant. So, that really sounds fucking badass now I think about it. Holy shit. I didn't know I needed that. Oh my god. Oh my god, that sounds badass. So, anyways, let's talk about Ruler. So, Ruler in this episode, she reminds me a lot of Saber. Now, I'm not talking about Mordred Saber. I'm talking about the original Saber. Now, I know she's, Jeanne d'Arc. I think that's how the proper pronunciation is. But, she reminds me a lot of the original Saber. In terms of just her personality, the way she travels, and the way she, like, upholds rules and honor and stuff, it seems like she has a personality very similar to the original Saber. So, if you wanted the original Saber in this series, I guess you have that, because it seems like Jeanne d'Arc is like that. Like the original Saber, while Mordred is a breath of fresh air when it comes to Saber-class servants, because of how she's a tomboy and the way she acts. So, very good personalities, very good characters, some obviously being reused from previous Fates. There obviously is some reused themes from previous Fate series that have come out. I feel like it was a good episode. I mean, the only thing that was probably a problem with this episode, which does have me kind of worried about the series in general, like this anime adaptation, but I guess I could look over it if the story is good. I'm worried about the fighting scenes. Now, as I've said in other series, I don't need fighting to make me enjoy a series. I'm not someone like that. I prefer a good story, good characters, good characterization, and development over fighting. That's just how I am. But when it comes to Fate series, there is a lot of fights. And it's very well known for its beautiful art and animation. Now, obviously, that's because of Studio Photable, and just, they're godlike when it comes to some of the things they do. But Fate has gained a lot of reputation because of that. And, like I said, I don't expect, the studio working on this new Fate to be as good as Studio Photable. I don't expect that. I don't think any of us should expect that. And it's not that they're shit, it's just like, Studio Photable has their own style, while the studio working on now has their own style. And you can't expect two different companies or studios to do the exact same thing. They have their own take on how to handle something or a project. And so I don't expect this Fate series to be like that. However, there was a lot of jump cuts in the fight in this episode, I noticed. I did notice it in the first episode as well, but you could really see it in the fight, especially with Karna and Siegfried when they're, going up against each other. There's a lot of cuts and all that, and you could see that this might become an issue. It seems like there's some issues with showcasing the full fight. It feels like the fights are trying to get rushed through real quickly because A1 doesn't really know how to handle these fights. However, I do like the clashing of the weapons and stuff, the sound effects. The sound effects of the weapons clashing, I'm fine with that. I really like that. I have no problem with it. However, when it comes to the art and animation department of the fights, it seems like they're kind of lower in quality compared to the rest of the series. But that's just me. That's my personal opinion on that. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.